Welcome to Northwest Detroit and Viola Liuzzo Park and the groundbreaking ceremonies here. Another outstanding day in the city of Detroit. My name is Charlie Beckham, Mayor Duggan's Group Executive for Neighborhoods, and it's been a pleasure working along with him as we make sure that every neighborhood has a future. If it seems like we're rushing things today, it's probably because we are, because it's hot. And so without further ado, I'm going to bring up the man who has brought the future to the neighborhoods here in the city of Detroit, our mayor, Mike Duggan. Mr. Mayor.
All right. All right. Well, good afternoon. This is about the most fun part of my job. So a couple of months ago, we did a similar event a few miles east of here at Liuzzo Park. And William Knudsen from Detroit, as Detroit history buffs know, was the head of GM who left to work for President Roosevelt to convert the country to building weapons to win World War II. He was basically the general of the arsenal of democracy. He had a park that had fallen into disrepair. And I went over there, I met a neighbor across the street. It had gotten so bad, the neighbor across the street was cutting the park by himself, and the city wasn't doing anything. And the neighbor told me he was just happy when we started cutting the grass. And when we came in this year and started to put in new play equipment and swing sets, I got a chance to meet the descendants of the Knudsen family. And we left behind a park that is worthy of the family tradition. And then today, we come back to reinvigorate Viola Liuzzo Park. And when I come up here today, I meet Mr. Artis Johnson, who lived across the street. Everybody clap for him. The people in the neighborhood know. And he tells me he used to cut the grass in the park because the city wasn't doing it. I get the same story everywhere. And he says, you guys are out here every week. It's gotten a lot better. And now today, we're announcing $1 million investment in the park in this neighborhood. All right. New playground equipment, new walking trails, new fitness equipment, beautiful stormwater retention areas. We are going to build this into a park that's also worthy of the civil rights legend from Detroit, Viola Liuzzo, and what she meant to people across the country and around the world. And I get to be here with her grandson today. So not only is the city coming back, we're coming back in a way that we remember our heritage while we build parks for our children. So it's a great day in Detroit, and I'm really glad to be here with all of you. And with that, I get to introduce somebody who's working hard every single day for Northwest Detroit to make us better. It's not an easy fight in Lansing, but she's been fighting and she's been winning. State Representative Leslie Love.
Thank you, Mayor Duggan. Hello, neighbors. Hello, neighbors. This is such a great day in the city of Detroit. So neighbors in this community, I want to say, who've been holding down this area, who've invested as property owners and great citizens of this District 2, I want to say thank you. And applause to you, neighbors, for doing what you do, and Mr. Johnson for your dedication and commitment to keeping the park a place for all people to come together, to recreate. And I want you to know, as your state representative, the state of Michigan cares about you. And we've invested $125,000 into this park to make sure that families and children and seniors and whoever else in this community that want to gather together in the spirit of unity and community have a safe, clean, cut-grassed park in which to do that in, all right? And so I'm just so proud to be a part of a group of dedicated folks and to be a part of this legacy, particularly in this time when you hear the headlines in the news and they talk about who's killing who. But here we are. Look around you right now. Just take 2 seconds. Look around you. Look behind you. Go. You know what we look like? We look like love. We look like love. And love is Detroit. We have an excellent mayor in Mayor Duggan who's donated and is committed to neighborhoods, not just downtown, but also in our neighborhoods. And we have fine neighbors like the members of the Viola Liuzzo Park Association who make sure that this community stays together. So I want to thank all of you. And with that, I want to bring up the members, the association of the Viola Liuzzo Park Association. Come on down.
Yes, would all the members of our committee please come up?
All right, there we go.
I'm Julie Hamilton, and this is love. I'm telling you, this is what community is all about. And this is a hardworking group of people. This started about 2.5 years ago, and it started out, I was just talking to Miss Martha and Arthur. It started out on their front lawn with a conversation about what would you want if a miracle happened and you woke up to the park that you wanted, what would it look like? And it was Caleb, who lives just a house away with his brother Isaiah, who said this place would be filled with kids and families. And that's what we want, and that's what we're getting. And my job here is to do the thank yous real quick. And we have to do them because there's so many people that have been involved in this project. So I'm going to run through this real quick. First and foremost, Mayor Duggan and his staff for the boldness to put parks and neighborhoods first and to invest the little bit of money that we have into these neighborhoods. This is tremendous. The Michigan DNR. And it was the miracle worker, we call her the miracle worker at our meetings, Representative Love, who worked along with the Michigan Congressional Black Caucus and other members and were able to obtain that funding from the DNR. The Parks and Recreation, I get a big smile on my face because it has been just a joy for us to work with Tim Carl and with David and Brad, David Miller and Brad and everybody, and Farhat, just a fabulous group of people. Couldn't have asked for more, and look forward to working with them this summer. Tetra Tech and DWSD, who are putting in our famously modern bioretention basins. Gospel Tabernacle Church. I don't know if Reverend Martin's here. Gospel Tabernacle Church has been where we have hung out every Thursday night for 2 years now, and they have just been tremendous. And they gave us Tracy, one of our board members, who's just tremendous. Paul Muley, who put the original design together for the park, working just with the neighbors here. And that vision of what they shared with Paul and what he drew out is really the core vision that still stands true for the design of the park today. So that's really cool. Bodman Law Firm and Nick McElhenney. Nick helped us with the putting together of the nonprofit, the Viola Liuzzo Park Association, the Greening of Detroit. I get another smile because they've got lots of great ideas and are helping us. UAW Ford and Jimmy Settles, who's been there right from the start. The International Brotherhood of Teamsters. I don't know if Sean Ellis is here, but he's done a good job. From the Michigan NAACP, Miss Yvonne White, who's going to speak to us in just a minute. The Rosa and Raymond Parks Institute, the Corpus Christi Church that just donated a small library in the corner here that we're already using. Norm Silk and Dale Morgan, my cousin, who have been helping us out. Dean and Cindy Robb, the Liuzzo family. I can't say enough about this family. One of the main things that has motivated us and kept us on task is the vision and the legacy and the courageousness of Viola Liuzzo. Anytime we've come up to a challenging moment, we've just stood back, took a breath, and said, what would Viola do right now? And we just moved forward. And I cannot say enough about how that example that she set has brought so many other people with that same vision to this committee week after week, month after month. Tears have been shed. it has been amazing, and that is what has got us through it. The other thing that has got us through this and kept us resilient and kept this neighborhood resilient is the name that keeps coming up that you've heard quite a bit about, Mr. Artis Johnson. And it was 2 years ago exactly that I met him on the front lawn of his house over here. We had a good 90-minute talk, and I said, this is going to be just fine. This project's going to be just fine. Because while I stood there, every person who drove through this neighborhood, drove by his house, walked by, came by on their bike, and every one of them waved, said, hi, Mr. Johnson, how are you doing? And it hit me. I said, this is a person with a very deep sense of integrity. We're in good hands. This park is in good hands. This neighborhood is resilient as a result of that leadership and that integrity, and I am just honored to introduce Mr. Artis Johnson. MCHR, Michigan Coalition of Human Rights. Marge, where's Marge? Yay! They were one of our earliest sponsors to come on. Thank you so much, and thanks for catching me. And that's Colette Meza, and she's always there to keep us in line.
Well, I don't think I have to say anything now. They said it all, you know. But I have been working pretty hard sometime, study. I wanted to make this something big. When I realized who she were, you know, I had no idea that when she lost her life there, that she used to live in this neighborhood. I've been over here since 1972. Just about everybody in the neighborhood know me. And I've been trying to make sure that the young kids find out what this is all about, because I be asked this question daily. What is happening? What's going on? So I give them all the information I have. But working with this group that I have with me, they have helped keep me going to show these people in the neighborhood that it's really going to happen. But they feel like it won't happen, you know, but it's happening. And I want to thank each and every one of you for sharing whatever you have with us today, just being out here, make it even stronger for us. And I hope you come the next time, because we hope the next time you won't know this place. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson and Julie and the rest of the Liuzzo Park Association folks. We really appreciate what you all do here. Strong neighborhoods can't exist without strong neighborhood associations like yours. Next up, let me bring from the Michigan State Conference of NAACP, Yvonne White. Ms. White, come on up.
Thanks so much. Good afternoon. I tell you, I am so excited and honored to come before you today on behalf of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, on behalf of our National Board of Directors, who is chaired by Ms. Rosalind Brock, our National President and CEO, Cornell Brooks, and our Detroit President, who wish he could have been here today, the Reverend Dr. Wendell Anthony. I went back and did a little history research, and I've been blessed. I've been serving as the state president for 15 years now. And I was fortunate growing up to have Rosa Parks for my mentor. So I've been involved in the civil rights movement for many years. And what I found out is Viola Liuzzo became a member of the Detroit branch NAACP in 1943 at the age of 18. So that in itself set the pace for the type of environment that she came out of, who was willing to help not just her family and her community, but to help a whole movement of people to travel to Selma, to drive all the way to Selma, Alabama in 1965 to fight for voting rights. When many of us sit here today and won't go to the polls to vote, your vote matters. I'm here to tell you that today. And as we dedicate this park to Viola, we have to ensure that we reach out as Viola did. Ms. Parks had a saying that said that your life really does not have a purpose unless you serve as a model for others. Well, that's who Viola was. She was a role model for all of us, especially for women, back in the 1940s when she set that stage to do whatever she could do to ensure that every life mattered. And so I am just so honored to be here with you and to share this joyous occasion to lift up the name of Viola Liuzzo, a true freedom fighter in the civil rights movement. God bless her, and God bless all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. White. You know, parks like this take a lot of work, and of course we thank the work of Mr. Johnson and others who came out here when we in the city couldn't do it. A couple of departments that are really responsible for this that I've had the pleasure of heading up. Brad Dick at General Services Department. Brad, you're still here. Brad, Tim Carl, David Miller, the Parks and Recreation Department, who work and toil in the vineyards here to do a lot with a little resources until Mayor Duggan came along. And so to talk about some of those efforts, let me bring up the interim director of our Parks and Recreation Department, David Miller. David, come on up.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Listen, I don't know about you, but I can't think of a better place to be on a summer afternoon than in a park. Can you agree with that? Now, I got to be honest with you. I wish I wasn't in a coat and tie. That would make it a little bit better. But listen, it's so happy to be here today to kick off this project. Mayor Duggan has invested over $11 million to impact 40 neighborhood parks just like this across the city. Isn't that amazing? And we're kicking this off here at Liuzzo Park, which I can't think of a better place to start. It's going to impact the neighborhoods in a tremendous way, and it is really an exciting time to be in the city of Detroit, and it's really an exciting time to be a part of the Parks and Recreation Department. You know, the idea is to sort of make these parks viable and vibrant again for the community as they once were. And we're excited to be able to launch this journey, to kick it off here, and to replicate this in other areas of the city. I'm really excited about this. You know, one of the challenges of coming deep into the program is that a lot of things you wanted to say have already been said, so I'm not going to repeat them, other than to say, go with us on this journey. We're excited about what's going to happen. We think you're going to be excited about what you're going to see. Thank you so much.
Thanks, David. Nowadays, we always hear the term green infrastructure. And my good friend Gary Brown, who's director of the Detroit Water and Sewage Department, chose this park to do one of the innovative green infrastructure projects that we're working on here in Detroit. Now, I'm an engineer just like this next young lady that's coming up, but I'm old school, so once you get past the term green infrastructure, I really can't explain much more to you. But to explain in detail what they're really going to do here, which I think is really going to be very exciting, is Palencia Mobley, who's Deputy Director and Chief Engineer at the Water and Sewage Department.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thank you for being here and being with us for this momentous and joyous occasion. So I get to talk about the thing that is technical, may not be exciting to you, but it's abundantly exciting to me. You know, one of the things that we have noticed in the last few years is the types of storms that we have. We may not get as much rain as we used to get, but we get rain in intense bursts. Last Friday, 3 inches of rain fell in about an hour. That's a tremendous amount of rain, which overwhelms the sewer systems. And so one of the things that we're trying to do in Detroit is manage stormwater in a different way. Older communities are constructed with combined sewer systems. That means the stormwater from the street and the sewage from your home ultimately makes its way into the same pipe, and it gets to the wastewater treatment plant to be treated. And so everywhere that we can take this stormwater out of the system, we provide more capacity in the sewer system to manage sewage. And so this project was very, very, very important to me. You know, Viola Liuzzo sacrificed her life so that she could enhance the lives of the rest of us. The lives that we live today, we live because of the sacrifice that she and others like her made. And so this project for us is about adding additional function. So this park will be more than just a playscape. There will be 3 bioretention areas in this park. And so to the casual eye, they'll just look like gardens. They'll look like beautiful flower gardens. But what they're doing is they're managing stormwater that comes in off the street. And so the practices will be designed to handle the first inch of rainfall that falls, which is typically what we call the 90th percentile event. 90% of all events is about an inch or less. But they'll retain that flow on site. That inch will stay here. And then for events that are larger, they will detain that flow. So these practices are designed to be able to detain as much as 2.26 inches of rainfall, and anything above that would be managed and discharged to the sewer system in a slower rate. So I want to thank you all for being here. This project is extremely important. It's one of several that DWSD will be doing across the city of Detroit, specifically on the west side. We have a commitment with the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality to invest $50 million in green infrastructure through 2029 on the west side, and we plan to do that. Detroit plans to be a leader in green infrastructure and stormwater management. We want to make use of the thing that we have that a lot of cities don't have, land, and we have lots of it. So we're going to utilize that land and make it more functional. Thank you and have a great day.
See, I told you she was technically competent. Now there'll be a quiz in about 15 minutes after to see if you all were listening. On a more serious note, as we close today, the person I'm going to bring up now is certainly very fitting. A family member of Viola Liuzzo, who this park was named after, who clearly is one of the civil rights icons here in Detroit. We had Congressman Conyers on the agenda. He couldn't make it here today, but we all know of his accomplishments in the civil rights arena, along with John Lewis and Martin Luther King. And Viola Liuzzo was certainly one of those in that category. And we had the honor and the pleasure of her being a true Detroiter here, lived just a few blocks from here over on Marlowe. So it is really indeed a pleasure and an honor to bring up the grandson of Viola Liuzzo, Joshua Liuzzo. Come on up, Josh.
Thank you, everyone. So I have the pleasure of bringing all these eloquently spoken people together here and the thoughts, so thank you for that. Before I say a few words that I have written down, I just wanted to point out there are a few other family members of Viola here today. My children are here. Jacob Liuzzo, stand up, sir. Madison Liuzzo, Michaela Liuzzo. These would be, or are, Viola's great-grandchildren. So, applause to you. And then my mother-in-law back there, I'm not going to leave you out either, Maureen Rule, and my 2 very, very good friends who grew up knowing this story intimately, as it's been a huge part of my life and inspiration, Ron Ritchie and Rob Luce. Now I have a few words to say, and again, thank you. 34 years ago, this park was dedicated to my grandmother, Viola Liuzzo. I have a photo of my mother, father, brother, and I standing at one of her nameplates hanging from this fence on that day. I was only 2 years old then, clueless to the courageous, selfless, and galvanizing trip a 39-year-old mother of 5 took in 1965. My grandmother's story is a universal one that bridges the gap between 2 paradigms, apathy and involvement. Although it ended with the ultimate sacrifice of death, sending shockwaves that changed the trajectory of our lives, seeds of inspiration were scattered and laid waiting to be unearthed. With most of the publicity surrounding Grandma's story occurring in Alabama, let us not forget where her story really began, right here in the great city of Detroit. She was an active member of the Unitarian Church, the NAACP, and a student at Wayne State University. My grandmother often upset my grandfather, Anthony Liuzzo, a local Teamsters official, by bringing in homeless men and women, housing them, feeding them, only to find her belongings missing the very next day. Vi, as he often called her, why do you keep doing this? Because, Jim, as she often called him, they need it more than we do. There lies the secret to Viola Liuzzo, empathy and action. 2 of the seeds that sprouted when Colette Meza, Julie Hamilton, and Mr. Aris Johnson combined their efforts with the local Church of Tabernacle to help transcend the emotional pillars of my grandmother into this parcel of land. The citizens of this neighborhood now share the unique privilege and responsibility to help preserve this park and be a true example for all Detroiters and its visitors for generations to come. My grandmother would be pleased to know this playground was going to serve the people and the community she loved so dearly. My family is proud to uphold the Liuzzo name. Now everyone involved in this revitalization and usage of this park can proudly call it theirs too. Finally, I would be remiss if I didn't mention a level of gratitude from Viola's children, my Aunt Mary, Aunt Penny, Aunt Sally, Uncle Tommy, and my father Anthony, along with the entire family, want to express our deepest gratitude and thank yous to all those involved. The members of the Viola Liuzzo Park Association, UAW Ford, Teamsters, Greening of Detroit, NAACP, Detroit Water and Sewer, Detroit Council, the dignitaries, Representative Leslie Love, Senator Conyers, Mayor Mike Duggan, and of course all of you in attendance today and those who are aforementioned. And a special thanks to Kim Trent, Jocelyn Benson, Gary Pollard, and the entire Wayne State family for their efforts in preserving Viola Liuzzo's legacy as well. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you, John, for those, Joshua, for those touching words. That ends our ceremony of the day. We're going to walk right over here and throw a little dirt around. Thank you all for coming out, and welcome to the new and revitalized Viola Liuzzo Park. Thank you all for coming out.